Excuse the lighting. I just don't really feel like turning on my ring light. So we're just gonna rock with this purple lighting. So yeah. Anyways, if you don't know, George Janko was a part of the Impulsive podcast, Logan Paul's podcast, for a very long time. And then, they had some issues along the way. They'd rekindle him, but George started his own podcast while being a part of the Impulsive show, and eventually started his own podcast, left the show, and all of that. But he had Mike, which is Logan Paul's co-host on the Impulsive show, come on to George's show, and George just made all these claims about Logan Paul. All these bad claims, how he kind of tried to hold him down, and all this and that. And Logan Paul responds. So to save any confusion, I'll play the whole video and the whole Logan Paul's response entirely, which is warning 4 minutes. It's decently long. So yeah, here's the video.
I had to start my own show because we're not making money on the show, and I'm getting pushed out.
You made money on the show.
I can show you my books. I was spending 10 G's a month being on the show.
All right, let's talk about this. Obviously, I wasn't on the podcast to represent myself, so I'd like to clarify a few things that were said. As well as having his own credit card, all expenses related to the show were paid for, including all travel and lodging. Obviously, George's total reimbursement came out to $20,000, 317 cents. I'd love to see any books that show otherwise. Spending $120,000 a year to be on a show is a little confusing.
This is a guy who's sending us screenshots of $11 million a week that he's making.
This statement is so crazy that it's almost laughable. That would mean I'm making $572 million a year. I'm nowhere near that. What happened was Prime had a very successful month. I think we did 60 to 70 million, and I sent it to our group chat because I was proud of the business. I was stoked to show the boys, and I think George maybe misinterpreted that as my personal income.
The show hit rock bottom, and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month.
But you did make a sizable amount of money on the show.
And by the way, always grateful. I was always grateful
like that?
Yeah, I don't like to talk about money.
I know he doesn't want to talk money. I know he believes it out, but George made $317,000 in the 15 months that he got paid for on Impulsive. The work requirements consisted of about 3 days a month, 3 hours each day, traveling the world, networking, and meeting some of the coolest people ever. It comes out to about $2,300 per hour, and he also had 10% equity of the entire show.
What? Not you, not Caleb, not Kevin, not Dylan. Nobody called me when I got fired.
George did not get fired. He quit. I'll touch on that in a second. But after he quit, I called him frequently. I reached out. I wanted to reconcile the friendship. I invited him to my birthday party and WrestleMania and even my ranch a few weeks later. He chose not to come. He also unfollowed all the people he mentioned on Instagram, which is maybe why they didn't call him. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but he still does not follow them to this day.
And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
The 2 episodes he's talking about, not 3, were shot 4 days after George's birthday. His birthday's on January 3rd. We shot those episodes on January 7th. We were already in Vegas signing the UFC to Prime, and as we do, want to capitalize on the location and our use of time and energy and the guests in that city. George didn't come to work because he wanted to spend time with his family for his belated birthday, which I totally understand and we even praised.
One of the things that I love about George, he prioritizes his family and friends over anything.
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. He told me that I couldn't take Celsius.
So this is the big one. Making calls, trying to make it seem like I wanted to control his show is absolutely ridiculous. As you can see right here, I was like, hey, we got to get you Prime because I saw him drinking our competitor, and he told me to call him. He was filming my reaction to tell me he took a deal with a competitor. I told him, please don't film. I'd like to talk about this. I hope you're joking, by the way. The truth is, I thought it was a bad look that my best friend and co-host took a brand deal with our competitor without consulting me, asking me, giving us even a chance to match it before he signed the deal, because the audience that he's building, at least at the time, on his own podcast was being funneled directly from the podcast that I was building with him. I said, hey, dude, I understand you need to make money. The entire text is right here that I sent him after our conversation, because I did understand his position if he needed to make money, but I thought it was also a little odd because he did make $317,000 in 15 months. Regardless, I did tell him I can't have him on Impulsive if he's going to take the deal with the competitor, but if after he makes the money he wants to come back to the podcast, he's more than welcome.
Hey man, where you're at, there's no room for you to grow. They won't let you grow. They will not let you grow.
I thought saying that to Mike was a little crazy. He's grown a lot. He has 2.7 million subscribers since we met. He's a multimillionaire, a best-selling author. I tried as much as I could to help him get into those positions, and it's not entirely because of me. Mike is a phenom in his own right, and he capitalized on the platform that I gave him, which is awesome. Just like George is doing now, but if that's not growth, what is? In fact, I think people forget, I praised George for starting a podcast, a lot.
Georgie started his own podcast. I think it's a great idea. I always love when my co-hosts venture out and do their own things. Congratulations. It's awesome, guys. Check out his podcast.
And also saying they won't let you grow was a little hurtful because I thought at least I helped Mike do some of the things that he did, and I even encouraged him to start his own podcast.
I think you should take a page out of Georgie's book and start a show of your own.
There's no greater feeling than watching people you love succeed. I tried to give people around me a platform, and if they capitalize capitalize on it, fantastic. Mike and George did. And George will even tell you this off camera. I encouraged him to pursue media and comedy since 2015. I really believe in the kid, and I still do. There's a lot more. I'm not going to get into it, but this isn't to say, by the way, that I didn't fuck up along the way. I did. I should not have mocked his beliefs. I apologize for that. I should have stuck up for him with Bobby Lee, and I definitely should have had his back more like a friend. There's a lot of things I would have done differently, but here we are. It saddens me that our story has unfolded this way. I wish him nothing but health, wealth, happiness, all the success that he wants, and I hope that one day we can sit down and have a relationship and a conversation.
So yeah, Logan, it really like seems like he's matured, which I hope for everyone. I hope that, like, you know, all these people that are bad in the influencer space, you mature. Like, I hope Jack Doherty matures. I hope all these guys mature and become better people. But that's besides the point. You know, Logan Paul owned up to his mistakes, and you know, he brought receipts. Like, every one of George's claims, he responded to directly and amazingly. Like, I'm not trying to like glaze Logan or anything, because by far Logan, I'm sure, is not the best of people in the world, but he doesn't seem like he's in the wrong. And George obviously saw the video and he responded, and his response is very aggressive. So I'll play his response. It's shorter. It's like 30 seconds. So here it is.
Dang. First of all, happy Mother's Day before I get into this drama, because I got to go take my mom out. I'm having a splendid day today. Second, yo, your TikTok is cute, bro. It's cute. I get it. You're doing your best to show face. Do whatever you need, bro. Like, talk to your team. Do whatever you need. But when you want to be a man, come talk to me like a man. Let's sit down like men and talk about it. Mike did it. Mike's a real man. He had the chance to come, sit, talk, show all of his points of views, brother. You could bring camera. You could bring your attorney, bro. Come sit on the couch and talk to me like a man. Let's talk, bro. Because obviously you want to talk. Let's talk. Come talk to me, bro.
Yeah. This response is kind of out of the blue for George. George has always seemed like a very calm and intellectual guy that likes to, you know, sit down and hear people out, and he's just respectful about things. Like, he's always been like that, and I've always majorly respected that for him. But he seems very aggressive in this term, like almost like very highly hostile. And it's weird to see him like this, because George is usually a very, like I said, calm and collected guy. And I don't know why he's so mad about this. I mean, he's acting like Logan didn't want to talk to him on the show, yet George never invited him. But yeah, I hope they talk it out. You always like to see friendships rekindle, so I hope they can figure things out. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. Logan also brought up the fact that, like, and we all know this, George openly was always talking about how he left the show, so it was really weird for him to say he got fired. So I really hope George is not falling into the thing of, like, I mean, honestly, this whole thing might be clickbait. They might be pulling a fast one on us for views, but if they're not, it would suck to see a creator that, you know, I highly respect, like George Janko. It would suck to see if he started doing like clickbaity stuff or started to cause drama just to have some views on his podcast. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching the video. Like, subscribe, all that. Peace.